After all art is experience.
Hello and welcome to The Company Doctor. Today's episode is called Coaching Without Credentials, How to Build Authority Without a Certificate. Now, whether we like it or not, the barrier to entry in coaching is basically non-existent. No universal license, no mandatory degree, and no official gatekeepers. So if qualifications aren't the thing that makes someone credible, what is? In this episode, we're breaking down what actually matters more than certificates, how trust is really built, where people get it wrong, and how to position yourself so you're not just another self-proclaimed expert screaming into the LinkedIn abyss. If you've ever thought about turning your experience into income, or you're side-eyeing the entire coaching industry, this one's for you. Hello, Gary.
George, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
I'm excellent, thank you very much. I'm really excited about this. We're going to talk coaching.
Yes, this is another one that's been a long time coming. I think it's one which is really pertinent. I hear so many people training and becoming coaches or sort of using coaches in their professional lives. So it's a hot topic right now, I think.
It's hot. And actually the title of this episode, which I haven't shared with you, is How to Coach Without Having to Be Qualified. Because I think I speak to a lot of people that go on the kind of 3-year training course to be a coach, and by the time they come out, they've missed the opportunity.
Yeah.
Which is probably a bit rude if you've just been on it, but
Well, no, that's a really interesting take, and I'm glad that I now know the topic of this episode, because I do think that
I'm not even coaching you. I'm just telling you.
I do think it's interesting, and I think that it might spark a bit of debate that as well. So let's get into the weeds.
Good. Is this going to be a controversial episode?
It could be. We haven't done many of those, but it'd be good to spark a bit of controversy.
No, it isn't. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Well, as always, George, there's 3 parts always, right?
Magic number.
And I'll unusually tell people what the 3 parts are so that they can follow me.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to teach people to do this without qualifications. Got to give them a bit of a path.
Yeah.
The 3 parts are connect, challenge, and commit.
Uh-huh.
And we're going to start with the connect bit.
Good stuff.
But before we do, I just wanted to share a bit of a revelation I've had. Yes, because over my career, I've helped a lot. I've coached a lot of people, a lot of senior execs.
Yeah.
And I've trained a lot of people on coaching without bigging myself up. And a lot of the time, it hasn't worked, which is a bad start for this episode.
Yeah.
You're supposed to ask me why.
Yeah, I'd love to know why.
Oh, good. Well, thanks for asking, because this revelation is game-changing.
Wow.
What I realized, I know you're excited about, and it links to another episode of ours, thankfully. What I found is if you teach someone how to coach, but their mind isn't in the right place, it just doesn't work. Like a lot of sales leaders need to be coaches, and they understand it. And I can prove factually that coaching a sales team can improve the performance by 19%. I can show you that. I know you're impressed by that.
Yeah, I am.
But if you don't do it through a growth mindset, it doesn't work. And it's taken me many, many years to work this out. And I want to share this with people listening. You've got to, if you want to increase the chance of coaching being successful, apart from learning how to coach, you've got to do it through a growth mindset. And even just sharing the person you're coaching with the principles of growth mindset will open their mind to it.
Fantastic. And this is what Company Doctor is all about, really, isn't it? Because you've done all the hard work so that our listeners don't have to. In a way, you've been on the journey, you've got the experience, and we're going to impart that over the next.
I've failed for you. I mean, by the way, it doesn't mean I'm right. You're probably people listening thinking, "What does he know?" But anyway, I'll have a go.
Oh, it's interesting. The growth mindset thing is good, and as you said, we've got a whole episode on that.
Episode 80. For those of you that don't know what it is, listen to episode 80, and in half an hour you'll be an expert. But generally, if you can explain to the person you're coaching the principles of growth mindset, don't punch them in the face with it, but just get them to be a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset. You'll have a better result. And part of that is that and this is part of the connect. You've got to be able to calibrate with the person. They've got to like you enough to want to be coached by you.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of an issue, isn't it? If you're a manager and you're like, I'm going to coach my team, and they don't like you or they don't respect you, you're in trouble.
Yeah, and that's quite hard to fake, isn't it? If you're not a sort of likable person, it's quite difficult to suddenly pivot and become that sort of person that people feel that they have a rapport with.
But I think, I think this is an important one though, because if you feel, and it might not be because they don't like you, but they may not relate to you.
Yeah.
And if you know that, it might be better to find someone else to coach them. There's sometimes people connect better with people, but but anyway, the starting point is it's to be able to calibrate with someone, because if you can't do that, then if the goal of coaching is the outcome, because we always talk about outcomes, then if you're just going through the motions, and that's why I had that bit of a eureka moment, then you're wasting your time and someone else's time. So that's the first thing. And I think the way you do that is, what do you reckon? What's the best way to calibrate with someone so they're open to share with you?
Well, spending time with them, I think.
Yes.
Asking them questions.
Oh, you're good at this.
Is that right? Am I on the right lines?
This is a coaching question, by the way.
Oh.
You've been coached right now. And you didn't even know it. Didn't even feel it coming.
That's the best kind of coaching.
Yeah, it's building trust. You've got to build, the best way to build trust is to build a relationship with someone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you don't have to go out for dinner with them, but if you invest in someone and get to know them as a person,
yeah,
that's the best way to have a better outcome.
And is that sort of an overall sort of, without getting into too much of it, but sort of personal life, professional ambitions, so sort of an all-round, you want to sort of get an all-round picture of the person and make sure that you relate to them in that respect?
Yeah, definitely. So if you think, actually, that's exactly it. So if you think just personal, if I can get to know someone personal and professional,
mm-hmm.
because I sometimes do a lot of training around this, and I do an exercise, which is just take 10 minutes with the person you're sitting next to and get to understand them personally and professionally, past, present, future.
Mm-hmm.
If you can do that, you've got yourself in your mind without writing it down. You can have a conversation. So it's like, tell me about you in the past. Go back before you started work. What did you used to do? You can kind of get to know the person really well. And when I coach someone, I spend the first coaching session actually getting to know them. I know more about that person in 2 hours than people sitting next to them for 10 years do. And I'm not interrogating them. I'm building a relationship. I'm getting to understand them. I'm taking an interest in them. And they love it, because it's the first time everyone's been that interested in them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good point there. It's a great point, because, just sort of thinking again, as I always do about myself, I'd sort of sit with people in my office who I really, really like, get on with really, really well. But actually, when it boils down to it, I don't really know the first thing about them. All I know is that we can have a laugh about various things, but when it comes to sort of their childhoods, or, where they grew up, or what they hope to be doing in 5 or 10 years' time, I haven't got the foggiest. So that is something which you have to sort of almost train yourself to do, because I think naturally people aren't necessarily geared to be that way. I think some people are, and I know some people who are, but I think the majority of people are.
I absolutely agree, George. And by the way, people do this with customers. So anyone in sales, they do this with customers, but they just forget to do it with the people they work with.
Yeah.
And actually, by the way, that framework's a good framework to get to know customers. So there you go. Added value right there. But by the way, be careful what you ask for, because sometimes I've done this. And this calibration is very hard to explain, but if you invest in getting to know someone in a genuine way, not in one meeting, then people feel safe. There's a psychological safety, and they become very open, and then stuff comes out you don't want to know.
Right. And then it becomes more like therapy.
Yeah. And we're not therapists. So if you do hit a point where you think, I'm not qualified for this, then don't try and be.
Step back.
But
step
back. I mean, I'm sorry to hear this, but maybe you need proper help. But in principle, people will open up. I remember when I was coaching a CEO of a PLC business, and I must have kind of connected with him. In the first session, he told me that he was feeling really guilty because he was taking Fridays off, having lunch with his wife, and he felt guilty because he felt he wasn't doing what he needed to do with the team. I went, what? This is brilliant. You've got some balance in your life and you're still getting results. That's not such a bad thing. But the fact he told me that, I've never met him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know that you've kind of connected with someone if they're willing to share with you. And sometimes there's tears, but the main thing is that your job, the part of connect is to connect with someone so that the relationship is they feel safe enough to talk to you properly. Because
Yeah.
if they're guarded, that's why it has to be private. You can't, if you're going to coach someone, you can't share what they've told you with someone else.
Sure.
And sometimes a manager will ask you to coach someone, and you can just, what you should do is get input on the things they want you to focus on, but you can't go back to them because otherwise you lose the trust.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to have that trust.
And do you know sort of instinctively when you've reached that point, or if you haven't and you never will? Like, is there a sort of moment where you think, right, here we go, we're ready for the coaching to begin, or this guy or person isn't going to be receptive to my style?
You know what? That's a great question, and it's part of my challenge actually when I go to the next bit. But the principle is it's very hard to really know, but you from experience you get to know, and it's a bit like, think about if you eat chicken, you can only eat it when it's cooked.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to challenge before, they're not medium rare. If you go to challenge before the person's cooked, and it normally takes longer than you think, so you might have to have more sessions to build the relationship.
Yeah.
But is there a magic indicator? Probably isn't. But people ask me, you just sense it. It's a bit, we talk about you have to earn a right to tell people their baby's ugly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Don't tell them they're ugly though. It never goes down. Well, you can if you want to fall out with them. It's really important to build that relationship, earn the right, get to know them as a person. And actually you end up joining the dots because you find out that when they were younger, their big brother had all the glory, and because of that, they're over trying to prove themselves.
Right.
Things come up that, I'm not a psychologist, but things come up, it becomes bloody obvious. Actually.
Yeah. And Gary, should you tell the person that this is what you're doing? And that you may come onto this, but should you sort of say, listen, these first sessions are us just getting to know each other. Like, the hard coaching isn't going to begin yet. This is us just sort of...
Yeah, I do. I actually tell them that I say to them, I'll get more out of this than you will. The truth is, it's not true. It's the opposite. Because I want to get to know you as a person, and for you to get to know me as well. So I need to be open about myself as well.
Yeah.
So that I'm vulnerable, but not so vulnerable that I come across as a bit needy. But I'm vulnerable enough that I'm with there. You get to know me, I get to know you.
Yeah.
I think it's really important. And then kind of connected to that is the environment that you're in, because you're better not being in the office to do this.
Mm-hmm.
We've spoken about this on other episodes. The secret is, what is the position for the secret, George? Secret to getting someone to tell you stuff is what?
Oh,
yeah, side by side, because you're not challenging someone directly. If you're face to face with someone, it's almost like a challenge. Yeah. Whereas if I'm side by side, I told the story of my son in the car asking what he did the weekend. He tells me everything in the car because we're side by side. But if I ask him, he's like, "Give me cash and I'll tell you." It's like
yeah.
So it's really important to be out of the office in a coffee bar. Now, I've told this story before where I was coaching this guy and he was very formal, calling me Mr. Gamp and stuff like that. And then we leave the building, go over the road into the coffee bar, like Costa Coffee, and he's like a normal person.
It's funny, isn't it? They take the mask off.
It's bizarre. And then I saw him coming back as we came back in the office. I could see him stiffen up. And I'm Mr. Gamp again.
Yeah.
Not quite. But you know what I mean? It's like, so 180 degrees outside the office, relax into it because you want people to open up to you, but you have to invest in building a relationship. Does that make sense?
It does. That's a great part 1.
That's my part 1.
Love it.
What about part 2? Well, don't do part 2 unless you've done part 1. This is the point.
Yeah.
And part of the issue is that there's a whole, we keep having discussions with people about coaching versus mentoring. Mm-hmm. Has this come up in your world?
It hasn't, but I think it's come up in conversations between us in the past.
Oh, okay. Well, what do you think the difference is between a coach and a mentor? It's not a trick question.
Yeah, it's a tough question though, because I think a lot of people will confuse the two and just assume that they're the same thing. I see a mentor more of like a role model, I suppose, whereas a coach is more someone on your level helping you to sort of, guide you through the difficult parts, sort of hands-on, maybe.
Almost there. You're so good today, George.
Thanks. I'm feeling very switched on today, yeah. You
are, really. This is a good time of day to do this. So basically a coach is someone who asks questions and gets people to come up with the answers themselves. Mm-hmm. You're almost like, they've got it in them. You're trying to bring it out.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean we're soft with people, but it's an opportunity to help people find the answer. Yeah, I've given the example before. I had someone that worked for me that was obsessed with Steve Jobs, and he would just keep asking me dumping problems on me. And one day I said to him, what would Steve Jobs have done? And he went, he'd do A, B, C. I said, do that.
Yeah.
Because that's a coaching question, isn't it? What would Steve Jobs have done? Anyway, sorry, it's a slightly sarcastic question. But mentoring is more about, being sharing your experience and being a role model, as you said. And what I've noticed, again, another learning for me, because we're always learning. We did that episode with Andy on mentoring. I realized that I've been treating mentoring as like the poor cousin of coaching.
Right.
But actually, I think you should do both, not with the same person. Or there's different moments in time. So sometimes it is right to mentor someone. And I think people should have a comprehensive mentoring program.
Yeah.
But today isn't about that. But on the coaching side, it is about asking questions. And the problem with that is that a lot of people don't know when to go from asking to telling.
Right.
And do I have to be soft with people and do I have to be fluffy? And that's what I want to cover in this.
I suppose you find your own style, don't you? As you know, the more you do it, you sort of you relax into the way you're going to approach these conversations.
Most definitely you do, George. You definitely do. So what I want to do is just kind of give people a bit of a framework for that. So challenges, the first step of challenge is that question, that brilliant question you asked me before, which is, when do you do that? Because if coaching is around questioning, when do you move from questioning to challenging? And before I do, I just wanted to kind of give a bit of an analogy. So one of my favorite analogies around coaching is really sport, and particularly around tennis. And I remember when Rafa Nadal was top of his game, there was a time over an 18-month period where before he retired, but he kind of lost his mojo and he went from being amazing to being not so great.
Yeah.
And a lot of tennis, but Djokovic was a bit like that now. It's probably because of his age more than anything else. Rafa's coach was Uncle Tony.
Yeah.
So Tony Nadal was his coach. He was a brilliant coach. He got him there, right? But he kind of got to the point where he wasn't the right guy.
Yeah.
And he switched to Carlos Moya.
That's right.
And then it was just like, he got his mojo back. And I think sometimes, if you're being coached and you're not progressing, it's because you're not connecting together. Though you might have lost your mojo as the coachee.
Yeah.
The person might not have the skills to coach you. It might not be challenging you enough. And I just wanted to mention that now because it's a very difficult dance between when you're coaching and challenging. People don't think they go in the same sentence. So I just want to show you how you might do that. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. I think some people might find it difficult to be challenged. And as you say, some people might find it difficult to be the person challenging. So yeah, finding that balance is...
So let me give you some substance to that. Is that okay?
Yeah, please.
Cool. So if coaching is about asking questions, like powerful questions, what type of questions could you ask? Because when do you move from asking questions to kind of putting the pressure on a little bit? So I've got 3 types of questions that you could ask. One are clarity questions. I want to know why or how or what does that mean to you or what happened there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you some examples in a second. The second one is challenge questions, because I think there's a point where you've earned the right to tell them their baby's ugly, and therefore you can challenge that said person. And then the third question is around ownership. I think there's some questions you can ask people around ownership questions.
And is that
I'll give you an example.
Okay, fine, yeah.
Go on. What were you going to say?
I was going to jump the gun, but I'm doing that too much.
Go. Jump the gun. I love it when you do that.
Well, in terms of ownership questions, is that like, so what do you think you could do now in order to do X, Y, and Z? Is that sort of like...
Yeah, you've definitely jumped the gun. I'll come back to that.
Okay, great.
Should take it out of my order. But yeah, so let's think about the person you're coaching now. So this is coaching that you don't have to go and get a certification for. People are either, in their lives, are either effective or engaged, or they're not. They're either effective or not effective. They're either engaged or not engaged. And the place where coaching works the best, bear in mind you could be mentoring or even getting rid of someone, is when someone is super engaged, but they're not being effective. So someone new in a business, or they're like the puppy dog, they're really keen to impress you, but they're not moving forward. Yeah. Or if they're really effective, but they're not engaged, they've been around the houses a long time, they're kind of coasting. Right. Yeah, that's more of an emotional opportunity, where if someone's like engaged, but not super effective, they're more of an intellectual, it's the how to. Yeah. It's not working. Okay. And then if someone is engaged and effective, they're kind of an asset, if you like. Yeah. And if someone's not engaged or effective, they're a liability. They probably should be got rid of.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't deal with that. So if you can plot your team against effective or engaged and how they are. And if they're the top right, they're an asset, and to the bottom left, they're a liability.
Yeah.
And you could work out what to do with them. But the danger is if someone's an asset and they're really good, you tend to leave them alone, and that's not good either.
So they need coaching as well.
Yeah, well, they might not need coaching as much, but they need taking care of. You can't just ignore them and hope they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
But the best place for coaching is where it's top left, where someone's engaged but not effective, and bottom right, where someone is effective but not engaged.
Okay.
And that's the best place to help them. And I'm going to give you some examples of questions. So on the clarity side, if I give you clarity, challenge, and ownership questions as examples, does that help?
That would be very helpful.
Thank you for that. So I'll just give you a couple of examples. I've got so many, so I don't want to spend too much time. But if someone is, basically an underperformer and I just can't get through to them, so I'm a manager, I've got an underperformer, and I want a clarity question, I might say something like, when you think about your performance, how would you describe where you are right now? Because I'm getting them to tell me how they think they are, because maybe they think they're amazing when they're not.
Yeah.
And then what things have you tried to improve, and what happened when you did it? And just examples of. Go for it.
Just a quick side note there. As the coach, are you when you ask these questions, are you sort of taking notes? Are you reacting, or are you just letting them?
Well, I always take notes because I'm old, and I think it's important to take notes because you'll need to refer back. Because at the end of this, I'm going to show you when we do commit what we do with that. So definitely take notes.
Okay.
I mean, these days there's lots of apps that record things. I don't think it's a good idea in coaching.
No,
because it sounds like you're checking up on someone. So I wouldn't recommend it. So don't use your tech, and don't invite your note takers are turning up to meetings before me these days. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
People have these AI note takers.
Yeah.
Don't use your AI note taker. Don't be lazy. If someone is an investment opportunity, so they're kind of competent, engaging emotionally, when was the last time you generally felt proud of something you did at work? And what was it? What changed for you over the last 6 to 12 months? No, you had your mojo. It feels like you're not in the same space now. What's up? Yeah, things like that. That they're kind of clarity type questions. If someone is an asset, you might say, where do you feel you're growing the fastest at the moment, and where is it leveled off? It's just trying to think, not just asking open and closed questions, but just ask questions to get people to think.
Yeah, well, that's it. It sort of forces people to be a bit introspective and ask themselves questions that they never would otherwise ask themselves.
And actually, I think, we don't do this very often. I'm happy to put some example questions in the notes for the episode.
Yeah,
that helps.
That'd be great.
Let's give you a couple of examples of challenging questions. So, underperformer, can't get through to them. What are you assuming about yourself or this job that might be keeping you stuck?
That's nice.
What part of this do you feel you're generally avoiding right now? Or if you're investment opportunity competent person, what stories do you tell yourself about this job or this company that might be lowering your energy?
Nice. These are good, well-worded questions, these.
You're welcome. If you're an asset, what do you think you might be playing a bit safe at the moment? Because they're like doing really well over there. Is there something you're not doing so well at?
Yeah.
Again, another one for an investment opportunity. What do you think you might be leaving on the table at the moment? There's things like that, just to try and they have to be relevant to the role, right? I'm just giving you some examples. And just quickly, I'm going to give you some ownership questions because you asked me at the beginning and you were definitely ahead of your time.
Yeah, I always am.
Underperformer, given everything we've talked about, what feels like the most important thing for you to change first? What's one small step you're willing to take this week to move things forward?
Nice.
You like that, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I like all of these, to be honest.
Investment opportunity. What's the one thing you could change in how you work that you believe would make your day make your day more enjoyable? Sorry, make your day more enjoyable.
Yeah, that's great.
Which aspects of the role do you want to lean into more because they play to your strengths? And then for an asset, what's the stretch goal that genuinely excites you, not just one that's safe?
That's cool.
Yeah, so the challenge thing is, so you have to wait for someone to be cooked, but you can ask questions that are challenging once they're cooked.
Yeah.
once you've earned the right, and if you continue to build the relationship, and you should challenge people. And then if you want to ask someone more directly, have you ever been in a situation where you're thinking, right, there's a lot of questions, but actually I want to tell them something?
Yeah.
Yeah, my recommendation on this is you don't do it too quickly, but basically then you can say, look, would you be open to me being quite direct with you?
Mm-hmm. So you introduce...
Because once they've told you, then you can tell her.
Yeah. And that's where you sort of give your thoughts based on all the answers they've given.
Yeah, exactly. And be more specific. And then it does sound a bit like mentoring, but you can tell them specifically, based on what I've seen before, you've been really good at this. If you do this,
yeah,
you told me that you used to be good at that. Why don't you get back to doing that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great.
And you said you don't have time. Why don't you give yourself, book an hour of your own time and go and brainstorm with yourself or something and come up with the answer?
Yeah, because people just don't dedicate the time themselves to be asking themselves these questions. So I think
they don't. And I think an important wrap on all of this is that you need to set time aside, as I say, preferably outside the office. I know people are remote, but even you can do this remotely, but it's not great.
Mm-hmm.
But if you book time, keep to it. The worst thing you can do is to cancel it.
Yeah,
because you lose your credibility.
Or be late.
Or be late. or not have the film rolling. Those sort of things don't help. And the last one is commit. Commit's the amazing one for me. It's like, a lot of people have these discussions and then nothing happens, right? Mm-hmm. But bear in mind, we're trying to do this with a growth mindset in mind. Once you share the growth mindset with someone, episode 80, another ad, then the principle of the growth mindset is that you're always looking to develop and have an opportunity to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, it's not a one-hit thing. But you can hold people to account. Any ideas? What's the best way to hold someone to account on a coaching session?
Oh, well, I suppose you give them like a challenge for the following session. So say by next week, might you have, if that question you said a minute ago, what step could you take this week to make your day more enjoyable, to progress or whatever it was? Can you sort of say, right, I'm going to hold you to that, and next week I'd like you to let me know how that went?
I absolutely love that, George. Absolutely, that's a great idea. I hadn't even thought about that one. So let's add that one in. Okay, but at the end of the meeting, what I'll say to someone is, right, okay, we go. Let's talk through what we've discussed. And I get them to tell me. So look, drop me an email with the 3 things that you're going to do, mm-hmm. that you committed to do, and then next time we can talk it through. Yeah, and get them to do it. Don't you do it? Mm-hmm. Because then they've said what they're going to do, and you can hold them to account. So next time you meet up with them, then discuss it. And if it didn't move forward, ask why. Yeah, you said this was really important. I didn't have time to do it, but what could you do next time to make sure you do? And that's not putting them in, putting them in trouble or sort of telling them off. No, but I think it's trying to bring it to life. You're coaching to help, right? Uh-huh. And you have to give people time to germinate in a way. Yeah. But I think people get confused with coaching. I think it's a fluffy thing where you just listen to people and you ask questions and you have a lot in. That's not what this is about. Yeah. This is about outcomes. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to I'm trying to make them better, but I don't have to fix it in one session either. So it's not like we're trying to, at the end of this, we've fixed the world. It's not going to work like that. You're on a journey. So you have to prioritize, and part of those questions will be, what are the priorities? Yeah. What's the one thing we need to do to move the dial next time or whatever? But I think it's learning to ask questions. And the best way to do that is to think of things that are more what would happen if? Yeah. Try and take yourself out of it and try and think of different ways of asking questions. Sort of hypothetical. There was, hypothetical questions because sometimes you get stuck. But a good example for me is there was a guy he was just fed up at work. He'd had enough of it. And in fairness, things he'd been through, I get it, why he'd be like that. But he was a really good guy. And I said to him, look, I understand why you're feeling this way, but there's 2 options. If it's that bad, then leave, right? But if I hired you as a consultant to fix the things you mentioned, what would you do? And he said, I would do these 3 things. I said, okay, well, is that a good place to start? Which one's most important out of the 3? And he went, this one. I went, well, why don't you do that? Yeah. It's just like, that's a coaching question. Mm-hmm. Because when someone's down in the dumps, my job is to bring them back up again. Yeah. And ultimately, if it is that bad, then he should leave, right? Yeah. Or if it contravenes your values or whatever, right? Yeah. But until then, there could very well be a fix. There's sort of and as a coach, you've got to be positive enough to think that you can help with some of those things. Yeah. The other way is to basically buddy someone up.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's someone who's really good at something that they're not good at, then buddy them up.
Well, with someone who is very good at it.
Yeah. And vice versa, right? They're going to be good at something. So if someone's struggling, they're like really excited, but they're not moving forward. What is the thing that's holding them back? And is there someone else in the team who's really good at it?
Yeah.
Why not buddy them up?
Yeah, that's a good
One of my favorite things to do is to put operations guys into sales and vice versa for a day.
Yeah.
Then everyone understands where everyone else is coming from and how hard it is.
I think that's a massive challenge for people in organizations, isn't it? There are so many siloed teams getting, keeping themselves busy, but no one really knows what each other is doing. So it's hard to have that understanding.
It is.
So the buddying up thing is good.
That's kind of it, but I have got 3 takeaways.
Okay. I had some...
You got more questions?
I had a couple of secret questions for you, but you've expertly answered them as we've gone along.
Go on. There must be one I haven't covered. I can't be that good.
Well, you pretty much have. Right. Well, okay. I guess one I can ask is, coming this from a slightly different angle, as a leader, and you may have covered this already, but as a leader of a team, how do you know when it's time to start seeking coaching for your team members? And I think you did cover this with the matrix.
Well, I do. The asset and liability thing. I think the truth is that coaching is not the right answer for most people. Right? It's for some people, and it's normally someone. I normally coach people that are kind of going in the right direction. Like if someone is a performance issue, they're not the right people to coach. Coaching is not the answer for performance.
Yeah,
coaching is the answer for people that are going the right way, but they're just slightly off piece.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the thing to think about. So they're either engaged or they're performing, but they're not engaged. That's normally a motivation problem, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think it's trying to work out, and that's why I think if you work out are people effective or engaged, or not, and then from that, work out who should be coached and who should be mentored and who should be exited.
Yeah. Those are your 3 options.
There you go. It's a bit harsh, but that's
no. I think it's the way it's got to be. And then the other thing I was going to say was, and you sort of covered this as well, but is there an end? And by which I mean, how do you know? Obviously, you sort of set out the priorities. Is it a case of once those priorities have been met, you sort of taper it off and then you leave it, or do you say, listen, this coaching is going to take place over the next 6 weeks, and if we haven't done it by the end of those 6 weeks, then too bad?
Okay, I thought you were asking me something else. Yeah, well, there's 2 things to say. I think you have to show how important it is, and you reinforce the behaviors of an importance by making sure that you turn up and that you hold people to account, and make sure that if they don't turn up, you take that seriously. And then there's an issue with coaching because if you coach well, people become needy.
Yeah.
They feel that they need you and they don't want you to go.
Yeah. They become reliant.
And your job as a coach is to get off me.
Yeah.
Get off me. Go flee the nest.
You're
it's
on
like
your own
birds.
now.
Go and flee the nest. Yeah, go and flee the nest. No, it doesn't mean that I won't check in and continue to coach you, but people become a little bit needy because they're benefiting from it, and you need them to flee the nest. But you don't want to completely disengage, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no.
Let them flee up on their own.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a challenge.
And last one from me, because we're running out of time. But this has obviously been a masterclass in coaching. But for people who are looking to sort of expand on their learnings, what's a good place to start? Have you got any books that you could recommend? This is putting you on the spot a bit, but are there books, podcasts? Are there people that they can email, or probably don't be giving out emails on this? But what's another step that they can take after listening to this excellent episode?
Very good question. I don't have the book in front of me now, but we will paste it in.
Yes, great
conversation. But there's a couple of books I would recommend to people.
Yeah,
I think the other thing is I think people should just get started. Yeah, it's not going to go wrong. It's better to coach than to not do anything.
Yeah.
And so if you're a manager, for example, I would suggest you start with a couple of people. Follow the advice. These are my takeaways, right? So I'm going to share my takeaways because I think that answers your question. The first one is, it's not obvious, but the most important thing you need to do for coaching is to build a relationship. You have to earn the right. Now you may think, well, I'm the boss, I don't need to earn the right. You do.
Yeah.
If you want the outcome, you need to earn the right. But it doesn't mean it's a love in. So I would pick a couple of people and get to know them as people.
Yeah.
You don't have to say, right, I have to do this because people are paying me to coach, right? So I have to signpost that I'm having a session with them till they get to know them. But you could just take out someone out for a drink or for dinner or coffee or something and say, let's get to know each other. You don't have to signpost it.
Yeah.
So that's my first takeaway. My second takeaway is that, it's not, I can't describe to you when the moment is, but you have to, before you challenge, you have to keep going until you feel they're cooked.
Mm-hmm.
Is the chicken cooked? If it's not, don't challenge there. Because if you challenge them when they're not cooked, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It will go the opposite. They'll dig their heels in to show them that you're wrong.
That feels to me the most important point.
And the third thing is, hold people to account. It's not soft. Coaching isn't about being fluffy.
Mm-hmm.
It's about getting the outcome and helping people. You're helping there.
Yeah.
So hold people to account. But the most important thing of holding people to account isn't being aggressive. It's your behavior. Reinforce behaviors that you want to happen. So it's not a good thing if someone doesn't do what they said they were going to do.
Yeah.
So make them, but also they'll see the benefit of doing what they're doing, and because basically 1-on-1 makes more than 2 by having access to you as a coach. So they're really benefiting from you. But also, not everything needs coaching. It's not all a all-round hole that needs a coach. Sometimes it's a square hole that needs a mentor, or there's some performance required.
Nice.
With that's all I got for you on coaching that you don't need a qualification for. Enjoy.
Fantastic.
I hope it works well.
Well, likewise. Yes. Good luck, everybody. And thank you so much, Gary, as always. I think we should do one on mentoring at some point, just to really draw that distinction.
Let's do it.
But yes, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you again soon.
Thanks for tuning in to The Company Doctor. If you've enjoyed this episode, do head over to thecompanydoctor.com to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your pals, especially those looking to build real authority in the coaching world. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.